Being back in Portugal after being abroad for 10 years has definitely been a mix of things. It's been quite an adjustment, that's for sure. And things haven't gone super smoothly, but the fact that I can see the ocean anytime I need to, being closer to family and old friends, feeling the warmth of the spring morning sun on my skin, the beautiful light, the amount of daylight. I just love the light in here. The easy access to tasty fruits and vegetables. It makes me quite happy. Good morning. Actually it's not morning at all. It's 2:30. Today I wanna organize this room, which is honestly, this whole house is a bit messy right now. Actually, it's been messy since we moved in. But life really got in the way of us organizing things. This space is actually quite smaller than our previous apartment in Berlin. And it's taking us quite a while, I guess, to figure out where to put stuff. We had to put some of our furniture in storage because we couldn't make it work here, or it simply didn't fit. Yeah, we're, I guess, like kind of adjusting to the new space and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So anyway, this room here is currently serving as our dining room slash office space. It used to be our living room, but then this weekend we kind of had this epiphany that maybe it would be best if we switch the rooms, which ultimately I think it was for the best. So the first thing that I want to do is to organize all of our books in the shelves. We got these shelves secondhand for a really good price, actually. I'm not sure if I love them though. I think they looked better in the pictures. I mean, I don't hate them. I'm not really sure if I like them. But for now, they're good, I guess. Everything in this room is made out of wood, and I don't love that. I really don't love that. Now, let me think. Where should all these go? It's not there yet, but I think it's getting better. So I want to talk about how things have been going. A lot has happened, especially in this past 6-7 months, and sometimes it takes me a while to process things. I always need some time to reflect before I'm able to talk about them. When it comes to my health, things are definitely so much better now. Last August I got some food poisoning that triggered a bunch of digestive issues for me. I had been in this constant state of stress and anxiety for so long, and getting a stomach illness on top of that really knocked me out. The official diagnosis I got from a GP was gastritis. And gastritis is what happens when your stomach lining gets inflamed and damaged. A lot of things can trigger this. For me, it was definitely a combination of things like stress, taking painkillers like ibuprofen regularly, which I definitely took a lot. The food poisoning, obviously, amongst other things, but I do feel like these three were the main contributors for my gastritis. Before this, I never had any stomach issues in my life. I always ate what I wanted whenever I wanted. Although during last year, I started to feel my digestion changing. I would feel bloated almost after every meal. And overall, I just felt like heavy and puffy all the time, which definitely isn't normal. I also gained like 10 kilos and felt really tired, especially after meals, which should have been a warning for me at the time that things were wrong. But to be honest, I genuinely thought it was just me getting older. People always say that your metabolism and digestion changes after you turn 30, so I genuinely thought it was just that. So I didn't think too much of it, even though I felt like shit. But after the food poisoning, things got awfully painful. My stomach felt like it was on fire all the time. I had awful acid reflux, so I was constantly burping, which isn't the most appealing thing to do. And nothing I would eat or drink would soothe it. So for a while, I was basically constantly bloated and in pain. I then was prescribed some antacid pills by a GP and was told to not drink alcohol or coffee and to stop eating spicy foods, at least for a while, and wait for it to pass. Weeks went by and I wasn't feeling any better, so I went to a different GP, got tested twice for H. pylori. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's a common cause for gastritis. And I also got tested for different infections, but it all came back negative, thankfully. The pills were helping a little bit, but not that much. I did not see any significant improvement. Went to a different GP and then another, but I was pretty much told the same thing as the first one and the second one. During this time, my fatigue was intense. I was basically exhausted all the time and I got severely depressed. I hadn't felt that hopeless and low and depressed in a really long time. I did not want to leave the house. I did not want to cook or eat or see anyone. I didn't have the energy or the will to do anything. The only thing that was truly helpful was dissociation, honestly. And so I would spend most of my days just playing Animal Crossing and rewatching old sitcoms. Yeah, those were literally the only two things keeping me afloat during that time. This lasted for about 2 months. During that time, I was only able to eat steamed vegetables, white rice, buckets of miso soup, boiled eggs, boiled apples, and air-fried tofu with as little olive oil as possible. That was literally it. Nothing else. No yogurt, no beans, no spices, no vinegars, no sauces, no peanut butter, no coffee, no tea except for chamomile. All the inflammatory foods were out. And at a certain point, I even removed gluten completely from my diet because I just didn't know what was triggering my symptoms anymore. And listen, I love steamed vegetables and I love tofu and I love chamomile tea. I love all of those things. But let me tell you, living in a country like Germany, and I'm sorry Germany, but you know this is true, where vegetables barely taste of anything, well, except for potatoes. As someone who loves to eat and cook, it was pretty fucking depressing. I was really feeling hopeless and angry and scared that I was gonna have to eat like this and live like this forever. And the doctors weren't helping at all. All of those GPs that I went to didn't help me. They didn't give me any directions on how to get better. Literally no guidance on how to fix this. But I was determined to end it because I did not want to live like this forever. So when I traveled to Portugal to take care of my father, I went to an integrative medicine doctor who's also a GP, but is specialized in women's health and digestive issues. And she actually listened to me and tried to help me, which is kind of like the bare minimum for every doctor. But yeah, she listened to me, made me do a bunch of blood tests. I never had that many tests done on my blood before. We found out that I had a lot of deficiencies. My B12 and vitamin levels were dangerously low, as well as my ferritin and other things. And then she gave me a roadmap of what I needed to do in order to get better, which was all I wanted. It was simple but challenging, and it worked. Like, I did literally everything she told me to. I took all the supplements I needed. I started exercising every single day. Besides bouldering and yoga, I also started lifting weights twice a week and started practicing Qigong every single morning. Qigong was actually crucial in helping me lower my morning stress levels. And just a few weeks later, I started to see changes. And listen, this is what worked for me under medical supervision, so please don't take any of it as medical advice that only a proper doctor can give you, and I'm no doctor. Everybody is different and has different needs, and people react differently to different things, so what worked for me might not work for you, and vice versa. I did not get better right away. It was definitely a slow process, but it was through this that we started to understand that my health issues were caused by chronic stress and severe vitamin deficiency, which I didn't even know was that bad, because a few months prior, when I had my blood checked out, doctors just told me that everything was fine and I had nothing to worry about, which turned out to be very, very wrong. Also, during this long process and after a lot of thought and consideration, I started to include a little bit of fish into my diet again, because it turned out to be something that my stomach could digest really well without me having weird symptoms. I really needed more variety in my diet, so I ended up doing that. I still eat primarily plant-based, don't get me wrong, but I will have some fish every other week. But I do feel disappointed. Like, I've been a vegetarian for nearly 10 years and I never had any health issues before because of that. Never had any cravings or never thought I was missing out on something. And I genuinely thought that I was going to be a vegetarian for the rest of my life because that is what aligns more with my values as a person. But this is something I'm doing now for my health. Another thing that helped me tremendously during this time was realizing, or perhaps admitting, that my chronic stress wasn't just from life events. So I restarted therapy and went through a formal diagnosis process to, I guess, finally understand my neurodivergence. I knew I was neurodivergent. A lot of people in my family are actually. Some are diagnosed, some are not. And at this point, with all of these health issues happening, I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with in order for me to understand it, to understand this part of myself that clearly has been the root cause for most of my struggles in life. And I had my suspicions on what it was, because I do love to research about these topics, but you're never really sure until you get a proper diagnosis. I wasn't really sure if I was gonna talk about it explicitly, but I guess fuck it, So at 31 years old, I was diagnosed with ADHD. For those of you who don't know what that is, it basically means that I am both autistic and have ADHD. You might be surprised by it or not at all. I haven't told that many people in my life, actually. The ones that I did had different reactions. But yeah, in practical terms, this means that my brain is a contradictory mess, because on one hand, it wants structure and order and predictability, and on the other hand, it wants stimulation and chaos and dopamine. Yeah, that definitely took me by surprise. I definitely suspected that I had ADHD, but the autism part, honestly, I wasn't really sure. There's a lot of characteristics or symptoms that overlap between the two, but I never really thought I had it, So that was a bit of a surprise for me, and it's definitely been an adjustment in trying to understand all of this new information about myself. It was eye-opening for sure. And a lot of tricky situations I've put myself in over the years kind of have an explanation now. But anyway, the reason why I'm sharing this very personal thing about myself is because the diagnosis was actually crucial for me to get better and in understanding why life seems to be so heavy, especially since I've had my burnout. And this definitely explains why I just stopped functioning after that, and why it's been so hard for me to put myself back up. As we know, the nervous system and the gut are deeply connected, and so when one isn't functioning properly, the other one suffers. And so I do believe that being undiagnosed for many years, all those years of masking and repression have led me here as well. And I feel like my body has been screaming for me to pay attention, to the point it got me immobile with pain. So how are things now? Even to this day, I still have days where I struggle to manage my stress, which gives me a mild stomach discomfort. But at least now I know what it is. And part of it actually comes from my ADHD. I realized during the diagnosis process that I am someone who represses their hyperactivity, which causes immense stress on my body because all that energy has nowhere to go. So it kind of just lingers here, which I think is quite hilarious. But this is why exercising and practicing Qigong have been so effective for me in this process. It makes the energy flow and therefore helps minimize my gut issues. I've also been able to add more foods into my diet. Recently, I also started to experiment with some spices. So now I'm adding pepper and cumin and sweet paprika. All were successful. I haven't tried anything spicy just yet, but oh my god, you cannot believe how much I miss having some sriracha and chili oil and gochujang. I miss it so much. I'm also finally able to eat raw foods and tomatoes again, which is awesome. But yeah, I miss my spicy food the most. I also lost 8 kilos. Yeah, overall, I feel good. I feel better now. Exercising has been extremely helpful. So does my tea. Currently, I'm obsessed with this Tulsi tea. I think it's like Indian basil, or at least it's from like the basil plant. And it's, well, first of all, it smells so good. It was recommended by my doctor and I love it. I had like once or twice a day, every day. It's really delicious and it's supposed to help your body adapt to stress in the long run. Yeah, all of this, I feel like I'm still learning how to deal with all of this, still trying to understand it all, but I do feel like a weight has been lifted. And I feel like I'm on the right track to, you know, feel better, be better. I am slowly starting to feel like my real self again. Whatever that is. Uau, uau, uau. Zé, meu pão pegou e agora ficou feio.
Calma, que merda.
Tá surpreso.
My God.
Oh wow. It tastes really good though. As cerejas estão com bom ar.
Achas que ele é de cereja muito? Tá bem maduro, tá?
We went to the market this morning. We currently live in a place that has a market just a 10-minute walk away, which is awesome. We've been going there every single week to buy fruits and vegetables. And it's pretty good. The quality is better and it's honestly much cheaper than going to the regular supermarket. And of course, we already have our favorite stands and stalls. Today we didn't get any vegetables. We only got fruits because that's what we needed, and a cabbage. We've been really loving going there. I've been loving this little routine where Zay and I go to the market and buy the things that we need for the week. It's one of these little things that make me really glad that I'm back here. Because I do love going to these local markets, and you know, I haven't been to one in years, so it's nice that now I have one that is within walking distance. Yeah, there's a lot of little things that make me really glad that I'm back here, even though it's been hard, the adjustment, and there's definitely been some reverse culture shock happening as well. You know, it takes time to adjust. We've been away for 10 years, so of course, it's going to take us some time to get familiar with things. It's strange because there's this unfamiliarity with things that used to be familiar, but now not so much. I don't know, it's definitely weird. And it's been challenging for sure, but I think overall, Zay and I we're slowly building our routine here, I guess. Speaking of challenges, by the way, on my last video, I mentioned that I got a job interview. It was to work at this sourdough bakery here in Lisbon, and I actually got the job and I started working there. Sadly though, I'm not working there anymore. I got fired for reasons that I still don't understand, to be honest. It was cool for a while, but then things got a little weird with the boss, and so, you know, I don't know. I think overall it was for the best. I just don't think that the way the things happen were the most correct, maybe not the most legal. There were definitely some red flags since the beginning that I ignored, because I don't know, I just thought that I was maybe being a little dramatic because of my past work experiences. But now in retrospect, I know I wasn't really crazy. But you know, things happen for a reason, and this was clearly not meant to be, at least not in this place. It does suck that now I have to look for another job, but you know, at the same time, good riddance. But I'm sure more opportunities will come, you know, so sometimes shit happens and we just gotta move on.